Okay, guys, I see many people joining in. Welcome again. As you can see, Bitcoin is now at 111K. We're seeing a lot of alts running as well. We've seen Ethereum breaking to 2,800. We're seeing Solana as well getting some really good traction today. So it's a really bullish week ahead of us. We've already had a bullish week since our last live stream, and I'm going to break down all of the major news that we have actually gathered for you today. All right. Firstly, before I actually start the live stream, I want to know from all of you, right? I want to know how you guys are feeling since Bitcoin has now reached this new territory. It actually peaked at around 112K this morning. And we can see that currently there is only that one small resistance that we need to get past, and then it is price discovery. Okay. It's a huge moment for crypto, huge moment for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can successfully close the day above 111K, that's a huge sign of confidence to the market. All right. And we're already seeing rotation being played into other altcoins as we speak. Okay. There are many small cap tokens as well that have absolutely exploded today, which I'll talk about as well. And we will also discuss the major news that's actually driving this pump right now. All right. So with that said, let me get started with the presentation. Let me just bring that up. All right. Cool. Perfect. So let's get started now. Um, Firstly, just want to welcome everyone back to Learn with Mudrex. This is our fourth episode of our weekly crypto brief series. And I'm very excited to have all of you here today, especially today because of what I mentioned of Bitcoin and how it has been performing since our last week's webinar, right? If you've been tuning in regularly, huge shout out for you to you all for sticking with us every week. And if this is your first time joining us, a huge welcome to the stream. I'm absolutely thrilled to do these streams with the community. And given that we're in such a bullish momentum right now, I really want all of you to just gather everything that I'm about to tell you in this session and position yourselves for the next weeks and next months, because I truly believe that the crypto bull run is now going to catch some real momentum. All right. Uh, for anyone new to the stream, let me just quickly explain what this weekly crypto brief is all about and why we created such sessions in the first place. All right. Um, See, now at Mudrex, we actually spend pretty much every waking hour diving deep into the crypto markets, right? Analyzing the charts, tracking news, reading any sort of updates that would impact the market, and also looking out for emerging trends, right? Um, the thing is, crypto moves fast, all right? You blink and you might miss some huge news, all right? New tokens will explode. Institutions will start buying your favorite altcoin, maybe, and countries might even roll out and have a full strategy for accumulating Bitcoin, right? So we thought, why not make it easier for traders and investors to actually keep up, right? That's what the weekly crypto brief is all about. Once a week, every Thursday, I join you all. We all sit down here together and we walk you through the biggest stories, the price movements, the trends that's actually shaping the crypto market. And we help you cut out all of the noise, all of the hype, okay? Because we're not here to actually dig into altcoins that are fully hype driven. All right. We want to actually give you solid picks, but at the same time, back that up with some deep rooted research as well. All right. So that's how it's going to be done. And that's how we will continue doing these sessions moving forward as well. Okay. Cool. So now let me just go ahead and take you through the agenda for today. First, we will dive into a quick market overview. I'll talk about how Bitcoin has been moving and any big macro trends that might be affecting the overall market. Then I'll cover some of the biggest headlines and news that I believe will have a huge impact on crypto, not just for the short term, but also for the long term. All right. Then we will zoom into a specific sector in crypto that is actually making huge headlines. And I do believe that this sector is uh, about to see some insane gains. All right. I'll explain why as well. Finally, we will wrap up with a look at what's for the week ahead. All right. What tokens you should be keeping an eye on for the week ahead. All right. So that's how these sessions work. And last but not least, of course, this is your session too. So if you have any questions, we will have a dedicated Q&A section towards the end. All right. And the questions can be anything. It can literally be a token that you're looking at and you want me to discuss live with you. I will be more than happy to do that. And we will also open the floor for questions regarding the Mudrex app itself. If you have any questions on how to use a specific feature, just drop that in the Q&A box, or you'll also be able to speak on air as well. Right? Cool. So that out of the way, let me just give you a little bit of a brief as well. All right. Before I move on with the slides, I know that this year has been pretty wild. We've seen some insane rallies. There have been some corrections, and there's been a huge flood of new institutional interest in Bitcoin specifically. Okay. Altcoins have also had their moments, without a doubt. We've seen narratives shift from AI tokens to layer one tokens to meme coins to real world assets. These are the different narratives that we've heard over the past year. Okay. But beyond the crypto native stuff, there's a macro picture we cannot ignore. All right. Now, central banks are still wrestling with inflation, especially in the US. Rate cuts or the lack of rate cuts are moving markets, and traditional finance players and public companies are stepping into crypto like never before. Okay, especially since the wave of ETF approvals we saw last year. Since then, public companies holding Bitcoin as a treasury asset has become a huge narrative. All right. Um, I always say this in every session, but I'll say it again. Volatility is absolutely normal in crypto. The key thing here is to actually stay informed and have a plan and avoid, getting swept away by any sort of news or any sort of emotion. All right. Whether you're a trader or even a long-term investor, you need to have knowledge, right? You need to have knowledge and the patience to learn. That is your edge. Okay. So that's why we are all here today. We're all here to learn as a community, and we will go forward from here. All right. So yes, let's get started, folks. I've got a huge agenda planned for today for episode 4. So let's get right into the first news. Okay. So just for everyone who doesn't know me yet, before I get into the first news here, my name is Anush, and I've been in the crypto world for about 6 years now. At Mudrex, I lead our research team. My day-to-day activity is all about diving into crypto markets, digging into different tokens and projects, and basically trying to separate what's genuinely valuable from what is just pure hype. Okay. So I'm constantly studying fundamentals, scanning on-chain data, and looking for any sort of signals of where some token or where the market in general might be headed next. Okay. Now, to give a background of my experience in crypto, I've witnessed the full roller coaster. All right. I've seen incredible rallies. I've seen 10x's, 20, 50x's, but I've also seen 100% losses. So I've been on both ends. Uh, and what has really kept me hooked throughout my time in crypto, and why honestly I'm more bullish than I've ever been, is that I really believe that we are at a turning point in crypto right now. Okay. See, the thing is, and I mentioned the same thing last week's stream as well. For much of crypto's history, retail investors, basically you and I, had a very unique advantage. Okay, we were often the first to discover new narratives, the technologies, long companies, everyone tuning in to today's stream are super, super early, okay, compared to the other wider market. All right. Most people out there still don't get it. They still don't get crypto. And they'll probably only start paying attention when Bitcoin reaches 130K or 150K. That's when you will see a flood of retail investors coming into the space. And that's what will push prices even higher, even faster. All right. So I do believe we're still early. But what is different right now is that the window of opportunity, right, where retail investors are consistently, like ahead of what you call the big money, that window is actually beginning to narrow. Okay. And the reason is very simple. Crypto has matured, right? Institutions are here. Like I mentioned, public companies, hedge funds. We're even seeing sovereign wealth funds. They're entering the space like never before. Okay. And the sheer amount of money like that's ready to be deployed in crypto over the next few years is staggering. All right. It's on a completely different scale than what I would have imagined 6 years ago. And that's why I'm so optimistic, and I think all of you should be as well. All right. Crypto is evolving, but I do believe we are still early. And my goal for all of these webinars and with everything we're doing at Mudrex is to help all of you make sense of this fast moving space, right? Spot what I truly believe is one of the most pivotal moments in crypto's history so far. Okay. All right. Just a quick disclaimer. Um, None of the coins that I'm going to be discussing today should be treated as financial advice. This is purely for educational purposes only, but I would highly recommend you all to do your own research, make your own sound judgments, and treat this as a educational platform. All right. Do not treat this as financial advice. All right. Cool. All right, with that out of the way, let's just kick things off with the big one. Let's talk about Bitcoin. But before I do, I want to see some predictions. All right, we've already seen Bitcoin reaching 112K. Where do you think Bitcoin is going to be, let's say, by the end of this month? Do you think it's going to make another high? Do you think it's going to break 112K, or are you more bearish? I want to know the thoughts from all of you so that I get an understanding of what our audience is feeling right now. All right. You can drop this comment in the Q&A box so that I can see it as well. Uh, I see a few answers already. Few people seem to be saying 110K, 120K. Most of it seems a little bullish. 120K. Suraj, uh, Sandesh says 115K. Bullish. BTC will surpass 112. Yeah. So I think the majority of the sentiment seems to be 112, 115. So very bullish. And I think you all are rightly so, right? Because like I said, the level has now been breached. We just need Bitcoin to stay above 111K and close today and the week above 111K. For me, if I see Bitcoin close the week above 111K, that's a sign of confidence. That's a sign of real optimism in the market. And the sky's the limit from here. All right. Because it's ultimately price discovery now. When I say price discovery, I mean that there technically isn't any resistance above this. So we really don't know where Bitcoin can go in the short term. There's nothing that's going to be pushing price down once it breaks past this 112K mark. All right. So just look at this level because it's going to be very, very key for the next week. Right. Cool. So let's get ahead with the news surrounding Bitcoin. And yeah. So how has Bitcoin been doing, right, since our last stream? Um, See, we were expecting Bitcoin to spend some time in a consolidation zone, and that's exactly what happened for most of the week, right? For the past week or so, Bitcoin was range bound, meaning it was chopping between 107K and 110K. Um, but like I said, just last night, it broke past that consolidation zone and even hit 112K. Currently, we need to watch for a daily close. Tonight, we need to see if it closes above this 111K psychological zone. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, some people will get frustrated when Bitcoin goes sideways. But remember that consolidation is normal, okay, before any big move. It's a period where the market basically takes a little bit of a breather. And I think that's a very, very healthy sign. All right. During these periods, traders and investors are actually deciding, do we push higher or lower? And often the sideways action builds a strong foundation as support for the next leg up. So sentiment wise, it's been pretty interesting, right? Right now, what we're seeing is institutional sentiment around Bitcoin is hugely bullish. We're seeing consistent buying activity from big players. Retail sentiment, on the other hand, i- is sitting somewhere between the neutral to actually bearish zones right now, very low retail sentiment. But when it comes to institutions, like I said, there's a huge difference. All right. Uh, as you can see on the slide as well, right? We have 125 public companies now that hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets. One of the biggest, I believe, last week was again Japan's Meta Planet, uh, and they built up a Bitcoin treasury of roughly 1.69 billion. And of course, other than the companies stacking up Bitcoin, we can't forget countries like El Salvador, right, which they continue to accumulate BTC. Uh, Now, coming on to the technical side, all of this which I've mentioned, fundamentally hugely bullish for Bitcoin. But on the technical side, we're seeing a couple of interesting signals right now. I'm going to give you the short-term signals, but more importantly, for everybody here, I want you all to tune in for the long term. All right. Short term, right now, Bitcoin's relative strength index or the RSI is sitting around 69. All right. So what does that mean now? RSI is basically a momentum indicator. It helps you gauge whether an asset might be overbought or oversold. Now, usually when an RSI is above 70, it's considered high. It basically indicates that the asset is overbought in the short term. And it usually suggests a possible cool down. All right. When it's low, below 30, that is, it signals that the asset might be oversold. And that is potentially that a bounce might be in place. Okay. So right now, Bitcoin is approaching that overbought zone, but just remember that this is on the 1 day time frame. It doesn't mean we're going to crash by any means, but it suggests that we could see some short-term choppiness, meaning that it can go a little sideways for a couple of days, right? Uh, but yeah, just remember that this is only in a short-term time frame. Uh, Let's now shift to our long-term view of things and base our analysis of Bitcoin based on some on-chain signals that have actually been historically shockingly accurate. All right. And I want you all to pay attention to these on-chain indicators that I'm going to be talking about. So the first and really important metric we're tracking is called the short-term holder cost basis. I'll explain what this quickly means, all right? Short-term holder cost basis measures the average price of the recent Bitcoin buyers, basically those who bought within the last 155 days. Okay. It's actually pretty fascinating because it often acts like a sort of psychological floor for the market. Okay, so when the price dips below the short-term cost basis, it actually tends to spook newer investors who might start selling. But when price actually stays above it, right, it suggests that those same investors are sitting in profit and are less likely to panic sell. Okay. Now, right now, if we look at this, the short-term holder cost basis is sitting around 99.5K and it's been steadily rising. All right. What does that say? That's a sign of ongoing accumulation. These people are still buying, right? Every time short-term holder excitement cools off, price tends to reset at higher levels. And historically, these cool downs have built very, very strong foundations before the next leg upwards in Bitcoin's price. All right. So that is something to keep a note of. Now I want to talk about the MVRV Z-score. Okay. I know this sounds a bit technical, but it's a hugely easy to understand chart and very, very important as well, right? In my opinion, it's one of the most important tools we have for figuring out where Bitcoin might be in this cycle. And I've used this as well. I use this regularly. I used this in the last bull run in 2021, and it really helped in terms of exits as well. All right. So let me explain what this is. MVRV Z-score looks at how much profit people are sitting on compared to Bitcoin's historical fair value. When it's high, like way up, like when you can see right now in the red zone, it means people are sitting on massive profits. And historically, that's when they start selling, often leading to tops in the market. When it's low, say down to the green zone, it means people are mostly in losses. That's usually when smart money comes in and steps into buy. So just look at the pattern here, right? In 2017, the MVRV Z score shot above 9. It entered the red zone, and that's exactly when Bitcoin had its top. Now, coming on to 2021, we can say that it climbed towards 7. It reached that red zone, and again, the top was formed. And now in 2025, we're sitting at around, as you can see, right? We're sitting currently at around 2. So what does this say? This just says that we're nowhere near the danger zone for when you should actually think about exiting the market. Okay. People aren't overly extended on profits the way they were at previous tops. That tells me that there's still room for Bitcoin to run higher without, immediately triggering any sort of profit taking. So this is a huge, huge important chart to monitor as we go along with the bull run. Okay. So tying it all together, currently we are at 111K. Institutions are accumulating Bitcoin both through ETFs and corporate treasuries. Short-term metrics like RSI are signaling we might be due for a short-term breather, but nothing alarming yet. The rising short-term holder cost basis shows ongoing confidence and higher price flows. Uh, and the MVRV Z-score also suggests we're not entering any sort of mania phase that we should be worried about. That's why, despite some choppiness that we might experience, uh, if you're feeling a bit impatient with Bitcoin sideways action, just remember these points. Consolidation is great, all right? But what these charts are saying is that we might be up for another leg to the upside, right? We might actually be breaking into price discovery very, very soon. And there is no signs of any sort of huge sell-off event that is going to be happening anytime soon. Barring, of course, any black swan events that can trigger sell-offs. But right now, it looks like Bitcoin has the room to go to the upside. All right. So that is our Bitcoin check-in for this week. Let's continue with the other news as well. Um, yeah. Okay, now let's just turn our attention to some major news that, in my opinion, could have a huge impact on crypto adoption in the long run. The past week, we saw two big announcements from banks in Europe that are really, really worth talking about. Okay. Firstly, in Spain, we've got BBVA making headlines. They've actually rolled out Bitcoin and Ethereum trading and custody services for their retail customers. And what's really fascinating is that this isn't some, separate crypto app. They're actually offering it directly through their regular banking app, the same app that people use for everyday normal banking activities. You can actually just have Bitcoin and Ethereum trading on it. So this makes BBVA the first traditional bank in Spain to bring full retail banking services. Uh, so it's also all happening under the new MiCA regulations in the EU. Um, and this gives banks the legal, clarity to start offering crypto services safely and also, more importantly, compliantly as well. So for the average person, right, in Spain, who's maybe curious about crypto but felt, little intimidated by exchanges or worried about security, this changes the game, right? Now they can actually buy, sell, and even store Bitcoin and Ethereum directly from an app that they already know about. So it's huge when you think about it in terms of accessibility, right? Um, it's really normalizing crypto as part of everyday finance, and it helps actually shifts the perception of Bitcoin from being something considered as only for techies or traders into a regular asset that people can hold, right? So that's a huge step in Spain. But this is not just happening in Spain. This is also happening in Germany, right? So Germany's Sparkassen Bank, which is the country's huge network of public savings banks, announced their plans as well to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum trading to its customers. Uh, Same through their banking app as well. And this is going to be from 2026 onwards. Uh, so to put this into perspective, this bank in Germany serves around 50 million customers. And that's roughly, if you calculate, that's roughly half of the country's population, right? So if they start offering crypto services, that's potentially tens of millions of everyday people gaining access to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Again, accessibility is a key word that you need to be thinking about right now. And when you couple that with uh, an asset that is scarce, that that has a limited supply, what happens then, right? Demand is going to come up. There is lack of supply. Price will inevitably go up, right? So you need to be thinking about this. You need to be reading news that actually uh, taps into this supply and demand dynamic, right? Uh, so yeah, this is a huge news, right? This is all happening in a regulated and familiar environment. Customers won't have to actually go out and learn how to use a crypto exchange. They can just directly do it from their bank account, right? So this sends a huge signal uh, of mainstream acceptance as well. When conservative institutions decide to offer crypto, so the bank in Germany, for instance, historically they were a little skeptical about crypto, but now they have embraced it, right? So it shows how far the industry has come. Uh, so just to wrap this portion up, why do these two announcements matter so much for crypto adoption? Firstly, they lower the entry barrier. Millions of people can now hold Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Now, there's also trust that's built. People tend to trust their banks, right? Sometimes more than standalone platforms, right? So if there are banks that actually offer services, it instantly feels like this asset class is worth holding on to, right? Then it's happening under clear regulations. So that's another trust factor which is in place. And lastly, I would say that this is adding a lot of competitive pressure to other banks around the world. Now, no bank wants to be left behind while their competitors are, attracting more young tech-savvy customers who want crypto as part of their financial portfolio, right? So these aren't small steps by any means. They just show how traditional finance is actually merging with crypto and how Bitcoin and other digital assets are steadily becoming part of the mainstream financial space, right? That's why I think this news is such a big, big deal for the future of crypto adoption, right? So let's just stay within the theme of accessibility, all right? Um, there's been another huge story that shows just how fast crypto is finding its way into the mainstream financial world. Um, on Tuesday, July 8th, uh, Trump Media and Technology Group announced plans to actually launch something called the Crypto Blue-Chip ETF. Okay, so first off, who exactly and what exactly is Trump Media, right? Basically, Trump Media and Technology Group, or TMTG for short, a few years ago, right? They basically started off mainly in the media business, and they have been expanding into streaming services as well and financial technology as well. And now they're making a serious push into crypto investment products. This week, they filed paperwork with the SEC for their new crypto blue chip ETF. And what's interesting is that this isn't just another, single asset fund, focused only on Bitcoin or Solana. Instead, it's a sort of diversified basket of what they're calling blue chip cryptocurrencies. Uh, and this is how they are basically planning to allocate the fund right now. So 70% will be in Bitcoin, 5% will be in Kronos, and 2% will be in XRP. Okay. Um, they plan to list this ETF on the NYSE and also major US exchanges. And they've partnered with, other noteworthy custodians as well to have their services deployed, right? So again, why is this such a big deal? Again, it just shows you that institutional momentum in crypto is being built, right? This is a structured, regulated investment product designed to attract serious long-term capital by the president itself, right? So it makes crypto a lot more accessible for everyday investors. Then the timing is really significant. All right. Just think about that. The SEC has been gradually opening the door for more crypto related ETFs, and we're seeing friendlier, right, a friendlier environment for such ETFs to be launched. Uh, and Trump media sees that this is the perfect time to be doing this when crypto is in a bull run, right? Uh, and lastly, I would say that the mix of assets in the ETF is very carefully chosen. The majority in Bitcoin and Ethereum, uh, but they've also carved out allocations for Solana, Kronos, and XRP, right? So if any of you in the audience today are holding these coins, I would definitely suggest continue holding them, because if this ETF is signed off and it goes live, I think we can see some extraordinary gains within these tokens. All right, especially the altcoins like Sol, Kronos, and XRP. All right. Uh, Again, so the bigger picture here, there's deeper institutionalization of crypto. This unlocks mass retail participation, and there is huge money that is ready to flow into crypto. Okay. Uh, so what does all of this tell us as well? It basically tells us that crypto infrastructure is evolving very fast. Crypto is no longer an experiment. It's becoming actually a core part of the financial world. I know you might have heard me say this in the previous streams, but I think this week actually solidifies that statement, because we're seeing huge shifts in how traditional finance, traditional businesses are entering crypto, and at the rate at which they are as well. Right? Um, I just want to say, if you're here in the space, this is yet another piece of evidence that crypto is going mainstream. Access is becoming so much more smoother. The amount of capital waiting to come keeps growing, and legitimacy of the entire industry is it's strengthening really fast. All right. So that's the story behind the Trump media crypto blue chip ETF announcement, and why I believe it's a major signal that even bigger momentum is ahead for our sector. Right? Okay. All right. Now let's shift our attention to Ethereum. Before I do so, I just want to know how many of you in the audience are holding Ethereum. Just drop a yes in the chat or in the Q&A so that I get an idea. Uh, okay, I see already a few Ethereum holders. Oh, okay, a few layer 2 holders as well. Siddhant says yes. All right, great. Yes, holding blue chip. Awesome. Yeah. So Ethereum today as well has had a huge move. Uh, it's at a very, very critical zone right now. Um, 2,800 is a psychological zone. And if we break past the 2,800 resistance zone, 3,000, it will accelerate towards 3,000, maybe even 3,100, where the next resistance level is. So this is something to really keep an eye on. But let's talk about the news that really caught my attention this past week. All right. This flew a little bit under the radar, but I think it's hugely important for ETH holders. Right. So this past week, we got news that Bit Digital, right, which is basically a public traded company in the crypto mining and digital asset space, has made a huge, huge move, right? They've basically decided to shift their entire treasury into Ethereum. Okay. So let's just take a step back and understand this, right? Over the last few weeks, even months, Ethereum for sure hasn't really been stealing the spotlight. It's kind of been overshadowed by what Bitcoin has been doing, especially with all of the headlines regarding the price and public companies and everything, institutional adoption, all of that, right? ETH price has been moving a lot slower compared to Bitcoin as well, right? But news like this, we absolutely cannot ignore it, right? So here's what's happening. Uh, Bit Digital recently raised around $172 million through a public offering. Then they decided to sell off around 280 Bitcoin from their treasury. Now, instead of holding that cash or going back into Bitcoin, they've actually shifted those funds into Ethereum. So the end result is that they now hold over 100,000 ETH in its corporate treasury. So to put that into perspective, that makes them one of the largest corporate holders of ETH in the world. Second only to companies like Coinbase in terms of publicly disclosed ETH holdings, right? Their CEO even came out and said how bullish he was on Ethereum and basically mentioned that uh, their company really believes that Ethereum will reshape the financial system, thanks to its smart contracts, its ecosystem, and the fact that you can earn yield through staking, right? Um, and I believe this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because this isn't just some sort of random company deciding to buy some ETH. This is a publicly traded company making a significant strategic decision to turn from Bitcoin to Ethereum. So that's a huge vote of confidence for ETH. All right. Um, it's a huge signal of confidence, right? Secondly, I do believe that it highlights the importance of staking and yield, right? Unlike Bitcoin, which doesn't generate yield by just holding it, Ethereum offers staking returns for those who lock up their tokens and help secure the network. So for companies like this, that's a way to put their treasury to actually work and generate some additional income. Okay, so that could become a huge driver for other corporations as well, uh, who are looking to add Ethereum to their balance sheet, right? Not just as an investment, but like a source of yield, right? Um, then it marks a shift, a huge shift away from this Bitcoin only treasury strategy. For the last few years, we've seen only that, right? But this has flipped the script entirely. They've sold all their Bitcoin. Uh, and that's not a small statement. Uh, it's a signal, basically, that institutional players are beginning to see Ethereum as equally strategic, right? So this could really start a trend if you think about it. I seriously doubt that we'll only see a Bitcoin-led treasury in this space. I do believe that other digital assets will be part of public companies' treasuries very soon, and Ethereum will be the first one. uh, other mining firms, crypto infrastructure players, and I do think even other tech companies will start looking at Ethereum not just as a, a token, but as a core part of their financial strategy. And uh, that's why I believe all of the ETH holders over here continue holding your Ethereum, because I do believe that once we see Bitcoin dominance coming down, um, we will see money rotating into Ethereum first. And I do believe that we will be seeing new highs this year as well. All right. We can get into talking about Ethereum. For all of you who do hold Ethereum, we can discuss uh, how you're feeling and how what your perspective is as well. We'll reserve that for the Q&A, but we can definitely talk about that. All right. Cool. So let's go ahead. Let's turn our attention back to Bitcoin now, because this is, again, something that we just cannot ignore. Uh, so here in this chart, we are talking about the number of Bitcoin wallets or addresses holding more than 100 BTC. Okay. Now, as you can see, this number has been shooting up recently, and it has actually reached all-time highs over the past week. So let's just put some real numbers on it. Back in October 2024, there were about 16K addresses holding at least 100 BTC. All right. Now, fast forward to this past week, and that number has jumped to 18,375 addresses. So that's an increase of 2,300 new whale addresses in less than a year. We have not seen something like this, especially as Bitcoin's price continues to go up, right? Uh, and again, to just put it into perspective, that's over $10 million per address. So you really start to appreciate just how significant it is, right? Uh, so what I'm saying here is that this is one of the loudest silent signals in crypto. And I'll repeat that again. It is the loudest but most silent signal in crypto. Okay. Let me just explain what I mean by that. Unlike headlines like ETFs and big price swings, this kind of whale activity doesn't scream from the front pages. It's silent because it happens quietly on the blockchain, right? But it's loud because for those paying attention, it sends one of the clearest signals about, where serious money believes the market is going. Okay. So why are all of these big holders, these so-called whales, loading up right now, especially since October, right? Firstly, whales often buy when retail is uncertain. Now, currently, if you go ahead and look at search trends for Bitcoin, they are actually pretty low compared to 2021, even compared to November. Search trends is a huge, huge and valuable metric for actually knowing where retail is. When you see a search trend come up again, that's when you have to start getting a little cautious. That's when usually the whales start getting a little cautious as well. All right. So they know that once retail confidence returns, prices can move quickly and they want to be positioned before that happens. Okay. Second, they know that the institutional narrative that we've been talking about is getting stronger, right? With all of the developments around Bitcoin ETFs, corporate treasuries, all of that, whales are basically anticipating further institutional inflows, all right? So they know this and they're making sure they're in the market early enough to ride this wave up. They see that the price is going to go up, right? Third, the on-chain signals are also showing strength. Um, like we mentioned earlier, the MVRV score, rising short-term holder cost basis, all of these data-driven points, they monitor very, very actively. So right now, as I mentioned, it's nowhere near overheated. Okay. Now, and the last point, we cannot ignore the supply dynamics of Bitcoin. We've recently had another halving event last year. Um, Whales understand that fewer new coins coming onto the market makes it even more critical to secure positions while prices are still accumulating or going up in a steady manner, right? Let's also remember the psychological side of all of this. Every time whales accumulate aggressively during quieter periods, it builds a sense of a higher floor in the market. Even if prices dip, they often rebound quickly because these large holders, they are not selling. They're simply not selling it, right? So this is fascinating, right? Whale accumulation almost always precedes major moves. If you just look at past bull markets, the number of large holders has consistently risen before any sort of significant price movement. All right. Uh, and even though we're seeing some short-term sideways action, we've been seeing that for a few weeks now. These whales are telling us through their actions that they believe there's still plenty of upside ahead. All right. And yeah, so just to wrap up this section, I want you all to understand that on-chain analysis is massively key for letting you know where prices can go, right? When you see addresses with 100 plus BTC stacking Bitcoin at these levels at unprecedented rates, what does that tell you, right? They are so confident that Bitcoin is continuing to go up. And this is one of the metrics that show that we are nowhere overheated, but it also shows you that, the on-chain metrics that we discussed earlier are showing the same thing. So it's always good to see this bigger picture as a retail investor, all right, and not be left behind. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead. All right, let's now shift gears and let's talk about a huge news that came out just yesterday. Uh, So yesterday, Emirates Airlines, I'm sure most of you are aware of Emirates, announced that they have signed a deal with crypto.com to start accepting crypto payments across their platforms. All right. And a full sort of rollout is expected next year, so in 2026. Now, if you're not familiar with Emirates, right, they are one of the biggest airlines in the world. They're based in Dubai, flying to nearly 150 destinations in 80 countries. So we're talking about a global brand that moves like millions of passengers, right? Um, Now, this new move means that pretty soon you'll be able to pay for your flights, your upgrades, even your in-flight, meals using crypto, right? They have signed this MOU with crypto.com. That means they're officially planning to integrate crypto into their booking systems and onboard services, right? And this goal is, they've said that they're going to start rolling this out in 2026. All right. This is a huge deal. And let me just break this down for you as well. Like I mentioned, this is just going to bring so much more accessibility to crypto. Uh, People are going to want to hold some crypto, and they want to be able to spend their crypto as well in a manner that you just couldn't do before, right? And then I think it also perfectly fits with what Dubai has been doing for the crypto space. Um, they have been working hard to become a major global hub for crypto and digital ecosystem in general. They've set up, regulators like VARA, and they have also welcomed so many crypto companies, to set up shop there. So Emirates moving into crypto payments, it perfectly lines up with that bigger vision as well. Uh, Third, I also believe that uh, it's basically sets the stage for other travel brands to actually follow from Emirates' footsteps. Uh, when somebody like this takes this first step, other chains, maybe other hotel chains, travel companies they are bound to closely watch this. Right? They'll be thinking if Emirates can actually pull this off, why not we do too as well, right? Uh, so yeah, the bigger picture is here is that crypto is steadily becoming part of everyday life, right? it's not just about accessibility anymore. It's also about integration into traditional companies and businesses adopting crypto as payment, right? So this is huge, huge for adoption, right? Cool. Okay, now I am going to go ahead and talk about the sector and the coins that are on my radar this week. Now, I know you can see in the chart, I've mentioned meme coins, all right? And you might be wondering, Anush, why are we talking about meme coins when I've spoken all about utility so far, about Bitcoin and Ethereum? But let me tell you why exactly I believe meme coins are uh, right on the verge of having a huge, huge breakout. All right. They've already ran incredibly. But like I mentioned, if Bitcoin does break through this 112K resistance, the floodgates are opened. All right. So let's start with why I'm actually talking about this. All right. So since last week, we've observed meme coins significantly outperforming nearly every other major sector in the crypto market. It's outpaced L2s, L1s, AI, gaming, every sector by a long shot. All right. Um, Now, before we just go in any deeper, I need to emphasize something really important. Meme coins are very, very speculative. Okay, they are highly speculative. Unlike other cryptocurrencies, they usually don't offer any sort of underlying utility or technology. All right. Instead, their value is predominantly, I would say, driven by what we call the attention economy. Simply put, this their prices tend to rise as more eyes focus on them, and momentum will start building from there. Okay. But having said that, even though they're speculative, it would be a huge oversight on my part to ignore such a hot market trend right now. Trading successfully, and I always mean this, it has to follow where the money flows, right? At least in the short term. However, managing risk in these scenarios as well is absolutely critical. Okay. Now, when it comes to meme coins, here's how I approach them. Rather than, randomly chasing individual tokens, I first pay close attention to blockchain ecosystems on which these meme coins are launching. Okay. Now, currently, there are three main platforms that I see that are that I believe are extremely bullish and showing some momentum as well. First, there is Solana. Secondly, there is the Base ecosystem. And of course, last is the Ethereum ecosystem. But if you were to ask me to narrow that down, let's go for two ecosystems, then I would prefer focusing on Base and Solana. Undoubtedly, I would say Base and Solana. Now, why these two? And I think I mentioned this in the last stream as well. Both Base and Solana ecosystem are experiencing huge growth. Okay, specifically in terms of daily transaction volumes and the number of active users as well. Um, Moreover, I believe that the crypto community's collective attention, or what we call mind share, is concentrated in these two ecosystems right now. So this creates a very favorable environment where meme coins can quickly gain traction and sustain momentum, at least even temporarily, right? Now, in terms of specific meme coins, uh, but yeah, before I just go on to talk about what meme coins I'm looking at, what's on my watch list, what I'm adding to my portfolio, I want to know from you all, what meme coins are you guys currently holding? Just put it down in the Q&A so that maybe I'm holding the same meme coin that you might be holding as well. So let's get an idea. Uh, okay, I see some Dogecoin. I see Bonk. All right. I see Bonk. I see some base memes. All right. Bonk, Bengu with Pepe. Oh, okay. Great. Uh, yeah, I see a lot of Bonk. Great. How about, okay, Pengu with Pepe. Awesome. Okay, so there are some meme coin holders here. So you might have seen a good green week then for most of you over here. Wonderful. Okay, so let's let me tell you now which meme coins that I've got shortlisted and what I'm currently really looking at. All right. Now I've shortlisted a few names. I'll tell you with full honesty that I am not a meme coin trader. But having said that, this narrative is just something you cannot ignore. So I am allocating some memes to my portfolio as well. I am certainly looking at Bonk, uh, again, because it's part of the Solana ecosystem, and Bonk has huge community and mind share as well. So Bonk is definitely one. Next, I am looking at Whiff, Dog Whiff Hat. Again, one of the OG meme coins on Solana. So when memes run, Whiff usually tends to follow. So I'm holding Whiff. Then I am currently really looking into Pengu. So Pengu has a very good community as well, and they have a good integration with their NFT community as well. So people holding their NFTs for years are very dedicated and loyal to the token as well. So this is another narrative and token that I'm looking at. And finally, the other two, I would say, are base ecosystem coins. Brett is one that's been on my watch list for the past month. And finally, Toshi. That's another base ecosystem token that I believe will have a great run if, again, if we see Bitcoin dominance come down and we see altcoins start running. Okay. Now, I need to give a disclaimer here. Uh, as exciting as all of this sounds, and trust me, it is for sure, it's crucial to, you know, have a check on your excitement. All right. Meme coins, especially ones that have already had such a huge rise, like Bonk, for example, they tend to correct very sharply. I've seen this play out last bull run as well. So that's just a word of caution that I want to put out there. I strongly recommend if you're thinking of allocating more funds into memes, I strongly recommend waiting patiently for meaningful pullbacks and corrections. Okay, because they will come. Inevitable that there will be pullbacks. No market goes up in a straight line. All right. Move, more importantly, I would say they often move in cycles. Okay, there will be rapid price appreciations like we saw last week. Okay, but if you're interested in participating in this space, carefully watch the technical indicators. All right, look at the volume spikes and just look at the social sentiment as well. The easiest way to do this is go to Twitter, go to crypto Twitter, just type in the coin that you're holding and see what people are talking about. Is there traction online? Are people even talking about the token that you're holding? Because, like I said, meme coins are community driven, they're attention driven. So you need to be able to do your research that way. There aren't much fundamentals, so I wouldn't bother actually spending time to try and search for a fundamental reason you're holding the coin. Just need to know where the hype is, where uh, and what people are talking about the coin that you're holding, right? Uh, yeah, so to just summarize this, I do believe meme coins are the hottest topic right now in crypto. Uh, and while I do believe that this is not the end of a short meme coin season, it's equally important to just be careful. All right. So just tread carefully, pick your moments wisely, and remember, opportunities are definitely abundant in crypto. But remember that preserving your money always will come first. All right. Cool. All right, folks. Okay, folks. So I think before we wrap up the crypto brief and we move on to the Q&A session, I just have two quick announcements for you all. Firstly, if you are actively trading crypto futures or you're just, simply curious about how to start trading crypto futures on Mudrex, you should know that we actually host a weekly live trading session every Thursday in our Mudrex Telegram community. All right. So these sessions basically will offer you a unique opportunity to see exactly how inside look at how we think about our trade setups, how we analyze the charts, how we will actually evaluate risk to reward ratios, and yeah, we will actually execute the trade live on the stream as well. So these sessions are usually very interactive. You'll be able to follow along. You can ask your questions, and yeah, you can also trade with us as well. So it's very, very community oriented live stream that we have on our Telegram. Okay. Uh, so the next session is happening tomorrow at 8 p.m. I'm sorry, this session is happening today at 8 p.m. So make sure, all right, just put it in your calendar and make sure to join us. Uh, we'll also be breaking down some promising coins within the meme coin space that I discussed right now. And you'll be able to see how I am going to place the trades. All right. I'll be joined by a co-host as well. He's the pro trader in Mudrex, and he will also be placing the trades. But join us tonight. We will be live on our Telegram community. And I highly, highly recommend you to drop by because you can actually learn how to place your trades. And I don't think there is any better time right now in the markets to start learning about futures. All right. So, guys, just raise your hand if you have access to our Telegram. If you any of you are interested in joining today's stream and watch us actually trade meme coins live on air, uh, and you don't have access to our Telegram community, I'm happy to share that link with you on chat, and you'll be able to actually join our stream as well at 8. All right. Okay, so Suraj, I see that. I'm gonna just send you the link to join our Telegram community. All right. I've sent you the link, Suraj. Bhavya, I'm gonna send you the link as well. Bhavya, I've sent you the link. Ashok, awesome. I'm gonna send you the link too. Uh, Raja, I'm gonna send you a link. Harshal, I'm sending you the link as well. All right, guys. Ajit as well. I'm just gonna send you the link too. And Abhinav. Okay, folks. Cool. So I think, oh yes, one more announcement before we get into the Q&A. Yeah. Okay, so secondly, basically, if you're completely new to Mudrex and uh, you haven't had the chance to make your first deposit yet, we've actually got a special welcome bonus uh, just for you. When you basically deposit 5,000 or more into your Mudrex account, we'll instantly reward you with 500 worth of Bitcoin, 500 rupees worth of Bitcoin, right? It's pretty straightforward, no complicated terms or conditions. Simply just enter the promo code that you see on your screen right now, Anush500, during your first investment, and you'll see your bonus Bitcoin credited directly into your wallet. All right. Just consider this as our way of saying thank you for joining me in today's live stream and actually investing your time in learning. Uh, and I do believe there's no better way to start your crypto journey than stacking some free BTC, right? Okay, so those are my announcements. Let's now move on to your questions. Just feel free to drop any questions you have into the Q&A box. Uh, Remember, it can be about specific coins, it can be about trading strategies, it can also be about the app itself. All right, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. Okay, cool. So let's open the floor now for any questions. Oh, I see some. Okay, Amrita, I'm just going to send you this link to join our community. Just give me a second. Yeah, I've sent it. Kashish, I'm sending you the link. Okay. Okay, so Kapil, okay, I see a lot of questions on meme coins. Great. So I see a question on SPX. Okay, so SPX is another coin that didn't make my list purely because I believe that they have a good community, but I'm still waiting for the pullback. I don't want to buy a token when it has run up so much. And this is why I always believe that do not chase the greens. It's not going to work out in your favor. Always enter a position when there is some red on the charts. Um, Chasing the greens is never a great idea, especially when it's a meme coin. All right. So SPX is definitely on my radar, but I am waiting for a pullback or a cool down before I enter. Okay. While trade in profit, not able to place stop loss on profit for target two. Okay, Lokesh, let me check this with the tech team. Um, but in the meantime, I am going to send you just send this to our community. I'm sending you the community link where you can also ask this to our community manager who will be able to escalate any sort of issues that you're facing with our application. Usually this is escalated very quickly and you will be your issue will be resolved fast. All right. So I'm sending you the link as well. Praveen, all right, I'm sending you the link too. Okay, Suraj has asked, is Ethereum following BTC? Is it worth holding? Okay, so Suraj, let me show you a chart, all right, which will explain this very, very clearly. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And okay, so as you can see now, Bitcoin is at 111K, all right? Now we need, and I believe everybody here should pay attention to this chart, dominance, okay? I think this is the most crucial chart in crypto, more than anything else. You need to be tracking this to see where the market share is. Right now, 64% basically means that Bitcoin holds 64% market share of the entire crypto market. All right. We need this to drop steeply. Meaning, I'm not saying that Bitcoin's price will drop. Bitcoin's price will continue to rally, but we need these Ethereum, Solana, all of these altcoins to rally faster for this to drop. Now, what we can see here is that dominance has rejected at the 65% mark. It briefly peaked over this resistance zone, but what we can see is that this was the long-term resistance, okay? 65% was a long-term resistance. And right now we are seeing a rejection. It's coming back down into this zone. And I do believe if we do accelerate downwards, money will start flooding into Ethereum first, then Solana, then all of these other mid-cap tokens, and then perhaps the smaller cap tokens. All right. So, and like I mentioned, I do think Ethereum is a great hold. It's a great hold because of just like I mentioned, there is significant upside for Ethereum compared to obviously BTC. Plus, the rotation of capital hasn't happened yet. So continue holding ETH, great hold. And yeah, just remember obviously to diversify as well if you don't hold majority in one coin, right? Just have a diversified portfolio, have most in blue chips, BTC, ETH, SOL, and then diversify into different narratives, right? Okay. I hope that answers your question, Suraj. Uh, Okay, so Shrisha says, I'm holding all five meme coins you are holding too. Great, that's awesome. I mean, other than just the five coins that I've discussed, there are some other coins that I have in my radar as well. There is a coin on Base called Degen. It's I would say a lot more riskier coin, but it's, of course, higher risk, higher reward. So I'm just looking at it. If it does reach a point in which I would be happy with allocating, maybe I would put like barely even a percent of my portfolio into that coin. Yeah. Suraj, yes, please, you can ask one more question. In the meantime, Raja has a question. I'm just going to go ahead and unmute you, Raja, and you'll be able to ask your question. Yes, Raja.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. So, I think you mentioned a couple of coins, but I think I missed those.
Mm-hmm.
Can we have that in chat right now? So that I think I'm missing those pronunciation or spellings.
Okay. Okay, so the coins that I discussed, they were purely meme coins for this week.
Mhm. Yes.
And the coins which are on my radar right now are five coins in the meme ecosystem. Currently, it is Bonk. It's on the Solana chain. Whiff is another coin that I'm looking at. Pengu, one more coin,
Mhm.
and two base ecosystem coins. So this is Toshi, and the other one is Brett. So these are the coins that I am watching for the upcoming week.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if there are more questions. Okay, hi Anush. There will be gaming coins that will perform well in the upcoming bull run. Last time we did see the bull run for San, Mana, Gala. This time we might see the bull run for IMX, Super Beam. Fantastic. Yeah, I feel like Shrish, you are an OG in this space already. Uh, I I am very, very bullish on Web3 gaming. Uh, I actually hold IMX and Superverse. Beam, not so much. I personally don't hold Beam because I haven't done enough research on them. So that's purely why. But in terms of coins in the Web3 gaming ecosystem, I still hold Gala because I do see an upside for Gala, even though it was an older coin. Superverse is a huge, huge narrative because, again, like I mentioned, money flows where attention flows, and Superverse is being backed by some really, really influential figures in crypto. So if you go onto crypto Twitter and you just type in super, you'll see that they have been promoting it in a hugely positive way, and like there's a lot of chatter about Superverse and big community as well there. So yeah, I think continue holding IMX Super Beam. I haven't done research, so I can't really say. um, but in terms of Web3 gaming, it has lagged a lot compared to the other sectors that I've spoken about, like AI, RWA, Layer 1, meme coins even. But as an investor, as a trader, always look for the undervalued sector, right? Currently, the undervalued sector for the long term, where the risk to reward is the highest, is Web3 gaming. Okay. And if anybody else is looking at Web3 gaming, let me just quickly tell you why Web3 gaming is such a huge, huge sector. Uh, just think about it, right? Gaming itself is very easy to understand. Web3 gaming is basically saying we'll have a sort of economy layer to gaming. Say, for instance, you're buying a skin or like some sort of asset in game, right? Currently in Web2 gaming, how gaming works, you buy this asset in the game, but there is nothing for you after that. You just use that asset in the game. Okay. But now with the Web3 infrastructure on it, that becomes a tradable sort of asset. You can buy it, and because you own that on the blockchain, you can actually sell that asset to another gamer. So it adds another dimension of social gaming, right? And it's very relatable to gamers. So for instance, if I have like this special armor or something in a game and I want to be able to sell that and make a profit, I can do that. I can do that now with Web3 gaming, right? So the use case is definitely there and the vision is there. And these are some of the projects that I believe are very, very good holds. So yes, Shrish, I do believe that. Continue to hold them. Continue to hold them till there is any sort of invalidation. And when I say invalidation, if I see Bitcoin dominance continuing to rise to the upside above like 70%, then I would say, yeah, start lathering out, take out your holdings, rotate it back into BTC. That's what I would say, right? Uh, okay, Karthik has asked best cheap, best coin or token. Okay, so that is a difficult question to ask in terms of best coin because there are millions of coins out there. But if you are looking for, the safest play, but you have like a small amount of capital to invest in, I would actually say don't put it into Bitcoin right now because Bitcoin now is, like I said, it's reaching price discovery. So we really don't even know where it's going to go. But look at Solana, for instance. Let me show you Solana's chart here. Okay, so Solana right now is around, let's calculate this from the cycle high to today. It is still 46% lower from its all-time high. So just to get back to its all-time high would be 87%. All right. So look at the risk to reward there. And with everything that is happening in Solana right now, if you tuned in last week, I spoke a lot about Solana, about its tokenized equities narrative. It has its own ETF now. Now even this Trump ETF that has Solana in it, all of that. And we're still 47% or 87% away from all-time highs, which I definitely do believe Solana will reach. There is your risk to reward, right? So I do think that this is a better play right now. It might not be relatively cheap in terms of dollar value, but you can start like doing an SIP. Weekly, you can put in an amount, slowly gather your position and accumulate some SOL. That's what I would say. Okay, so Bonk or Floki? I would say Bonk right now, uh, purely because it's again built on Solana and there's so much attention on Bonk. I do see a little bit more of an upside for Bonk, but just again be careful because I do believe that Bonk has gone up quite a bit like this last week. If I just check the chart, yeah, it has gone up quite a bit. So since 2nd July to today, it's gone up 68%. Right? So just remember that we are actually at a resistance level now. So as you can see here, these are two resistance spots. So we might see a pullback. I am expecting a pullback at least till there. So a 12% pullback. And if we manage to gather support here, we can see a bounce off from here. All right. So I wouldn't actually accumulate any more bonk till I see a confirmation of a pullback here to this level, and then I will add some positions over here. All right. Okay, Shrish has asked Caspa or Zelix. Okay. Um, Caspa is a good play because it does work on the proof of work narrative, similar to Bitcoin. Zelix, I don't have that much information on Zelis. I've seen it around crypto Twitter, but Caspa I know that has been around for a while. Let me also look at Caspa's chart. Uh, okay, yeah, Caspa I do think is a it's a good hold. And I think it's a good time to start actually accumulating some Caspa if you are thinking of it as a long-term hold. Uh, but yeah, I would say that this is a good narrative to hedge against BTC. You can think of it like a sort of alternative to BTC. Of course, I'm not saying that it's going to replace anything, but I do think that this would drive on this would be a huge upside if BTC runs pretty quickly. Yeah. But yeah, Casper I would say is a good hold for just for that reason. Uh, Bonk or SPX. Again, I would say bonk. Yeah. Okay, guys, and there's one more thing that I just want to share with you as well. I see some questions on DeFi. So let me show you a platform that I regularly use to do my analysis before I get into any coin. Uh, Let me just share my screen. All right. Okay. So this website is called DeFi Llama. All right. Basically, it gives you a lot of on-chain metrics that really help you understand how a specific token or specific project is performing. All right. Um, Now, I mentioned this in I think it was the second episode where we talked about DeFi tokens. And I do believe that DeFi narrative is going to be huge this season, this bull season. So I have heavily allocated into DeFi. One of the coins that I have allocated into is Aave. And the reason why is very simple. You just click on Aave. I'm not looking at charts here. I'm not looking at any sort of price charts here. I'm looking at what activity is happening on the chain. All right. Now look at this. Aave from a price point. Let me calculate from a price point firstly, and then I'll talk about this. Aave from a price point is still around 26% below its all-time high. Sorry, not 25%. I think it's more than that. Let me just have a quick calculation. Yeah, so it is currently 55% away from its all-time high. Okay. But if you see what's happening on chain, this is the TVL, total value locked. So how many people are confident about this network? How many people are locking their money on this network to generate yield, generate returns? That is at all-time highs, right? So people are using this network like never before, but the price is still lagging, right? Usually what happens in crypto is when on-chain metrics are flying off, when they're skyrocketing, it is a leading indicator, meaning that price will follow after a little bit of a lag, right? So this is how you do a little bit of research. Use sites like DeFi Llama to see where there is network growth happening and position yourself by then looking at the charts. First, do the on-chain analysis and then look at the charts. All right, cool. Okay, let me go back to the Q&A. Okay, folks, I think okay, BNB. I am not too sure on that meme coin. I'm actually not too sure about BNB meme coins. I've been hugely focused on Solana memes and base memes. Uh, but BNB memes, I don't think I've come across many. Okay, I'll take one more question. Does Bonk have the capability to perform the same as Partcoin and WIF? Um, Also, please share the DeFi Llama link. Okay, let me share you this DeFi Llama link firstly. All right, I've sent this link. I hope it opens. Now, in terms of price performance, uh, let me just go ahead and have a look at the chart again. Okay, so let's go back to trading view. Let's go to Bonk. Okay, so as you can see, Bonk is pretty volatile. All right. What we need to see now for Bonk to do a 5x, right? I think it's a 5x to its next, like a 2x to its highs, right? We will need some sort of consolidation here. All right. I do believe that if Bitcoin were to now reach new highs and we start seeing some sort of dominance drop in Bitcoin, that will lead to some huge appreciations for Bonk. All right. Uh, I don't see that much resistance after this level here until the next one. Perhaps over here, I would draw a line around this range is the next resistance. Now, if I look at how much that is, let's take the scale. Now, that is a 45% from here, right? Usually, during this phase of the bull run, um, you can expect some insane price appreciations, price percentages like this. But again, it depends on dominance. It depends on this chart. We need this to consistently come down. We see this come down, then we can see days like we have today. Like we've seen Pengu today, right? This is Pengu, right? Pengu today has done 30%. So there is a phrase in crypto called a popcorn effect, right? So we'll see these coins popping off. We'll see Pengu doing 30%. We'll see WIF doing 30%. We'll see Bonk do 30%. And why is this happening? This is happening because the market is starting to realize that dominance is coming down. Okay. The more we see of these red candles, the more we have this popcorn effect. Okay. So there is no doubt that we will see uh, Bonk, we'll see other coins have insane returns like we have seen with Pengu, as long as we see more of these red candles and we see Bitcoin slowly going up, right? So that's how this works. Okay. Okay, folks, I think on that note, we can end the stream for this week. Just remember, guys, that again, tonight at 8 p.m., we have that live stream. We have the Telegram live stream. So I urge you all to join us for that. I'll be showing you exactly how we can trade using Mudrex and all of the risk management strategies. Also, we will be discussing live on air. Okay. Um, so yeah, join us for that. Join our Telegram community and join me as well next week. All right. I will be here again for another weekly crypto brief. And I do believe by the next time we meet, we might be in new all-time highs. All right. I firmly believe that. Let's see where we are then. Uh, Let me also just share the next session with you all for what is up. Let's go with this. So yeah, the next session will be hosted by Swapnil. Uh, please do join this. It's a very informative course. It's a 2-day futures crash course. So anybody who's new to futures, you'll get an entire idea of how to start and how to actually trade like a pro. So this is happening on the 12th. So do register for this. It's a hugely useful webinar as well. All right. Um, Karthik, okay, I do see your questions. I'm not going to ignore you. Let me just see this. Okay, I have less money. Please tell me cheapest, safest coin or token. Okay, so again, Karthik, I would definitely say stick to the utility projects. I know that I've talked about, all the memes and everything, but I have to tell you, I think it would be you know, unjust of me to say that this is a safe place in crypto. Uh, Look at the utility coins. Just start dollar cost averaging into Solana. Okay, you don't have to buy an entire Solana at one go. You can buy point 0.1, point 0.2. That's how I've been doing it as well. I don't buy an entire Solana one shot. Like I don't put $150 at one shot. I put like 10 or even $5, and I just slowly accumulate, right? Uh, and there is time. Okay, there is time, and you just need to start. Just need to start investing, and it will be fruitful. All right. uh, but yeah, continue to do your research. But from what I've done and from what I'm seeing a lot of growth on Solana. Okay, so just that's what I would say, right? Cool, guys. Mind of Pepe or Little Pepe? Karthik, I'm not too sure. I haven't come across these projects, so I wouldn't know. Um, but from the sound of it, it looks like this is a meme coin. But I haven't come across these, so I couldn't really tell you. Okay. All right, folks. Yeah, I think we can wrap up the stream then for today. Uh, Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you all at 8 p.m. And I will see you also next week. Okay, folks. Thank you so much and have a great rest of the week. Bye bye.
Download Mudrex now.